Josh, thanks for doing this. It's really good to see you. I suppose you've been a bit overwhelmed, right? The last couple of days, like most of my timeline for a couple of days has been like one of Britain's greats,
Yeah,
modern great, pound for pounder and all that. Like, it must be kind of humbling and sobering, I guess.
yeah, it's been a bit of it's been a bit of a bittersweet. It's been very, very heartwarming and kind of cheered me up a little bit with the response that I've had. My phone has just went crazy since we announced it on Monday there. So yeah, the phone's been crazy, and I've still got 100, literally 100, maybe over 1,000 messages to get through. Um, so I will get back to everybody in due time, but it's just been kind of overwhelming, the reaction that I've had. So that's cheered me up a little bit, knowing that folk and the fans and stuff appreciated my time in the sport and appreciated what I gave to the support. So yeah, it's been very nice and very comforting. So I've got to spend a little bit of time now to get back to sorry, what's happened here. That's
That's
it.
right.
Yeah, to get back to everyone, because of my phone's just been going crazy. So it's been a bit of a bittersweet sort of week, well, 2 weeks really, because I announced it on Monday, but I got the news basically with my eye last week when I was down in Liverpool. So it's been a sort of 2 weeks of processing it and coming to terms with that's the end of the road. It's been a hard couple of weeks,
Is there
but
any
yeah,
is there anyone you've heard from that you hadn't expected to?
I've heard from loads of people. I've literally heard from hundreds of people on my WhatsApp. I've still got hundreds of messages to get through. I've heard for the usual ones. I've still got to go through ones that I didn't think I would hear from, but nah, I've not heard from anyone that would be unexpected. No, but I've had pretty sort of nice, pleasant surprises and messages from people. So yeah, it's been nice, but also it's kind of shit at the same time because I'm now like, oh damn, that's the end of the road.
Well,
So
I
yeah,
suppose Yeah, I suppose there's a couple of things there, Josh. Is obviously last time we spoke in depth was before the Esserman fight, and you were saying, you got a lot left to give and a lot left in you, and then after the Esserman fight, it was like, no, I'm just going to take a couple of weeks out and go off radar for a little bit, and then I'll be back. So obviously, all this is
yeah,
new information for all of us, I guess, you included.
yeah, me included as well. I mean, only took 2 weeks off after the Echoman fight, the Echo fight. Can't speak. The Echo fight. Only took 2 weeks off, and I was straight back into the gym and training away and keeping fit, and I was in good shape. And then I went down to Liverpool for basically a checkup on my eyes to see how they were. Because I was expecting to go under another sort of squint surgery with the alignment in the eyes. But when they took the pictures of the eyes and stuff, they found a couple of tears in the retinal tissue and stuff. Um, so I ended up having to get laser eye treatment, and this says that the tears were quite significant, and I was a bit like, well, what's your weighing up here? I've not got any options. Do I get it done and then carry on and then potentially lose my sight? Says, nah, I'm not willing to do that. So um, I've achieved all what I have in the sport. I've climbed the top of the mountain. I've been there and done it and wore the t-shirt. So it was a really, really crap time, but it's now time to sit and reflect on what's been a great career. It's been a tough couple of weeks, to be honest, Chris. It's been quite emotional, to be fair. It's been kind of all of a sudden on top. So yeah, it's been quite a hard process to try and go through it. And keep my head.
I'm assuming you've shed a tear, right?
Yeah, I have actually. Yeah, a couple of times. Yeah, yeah. It's been quite bad. It's been quite tough. Yeah.
Which I suppose was amplified by the fact that, like you said, it sort of came out of left field. In terms of your sight, like, do you see everything all right now? Like, do you wear glasses
See,
and
I can see all right and stuff. I actually could see all right as it was, but it was just I had went to go and basically get my alignment done in my eyes, basically a squint surgery. And when they looked into my eyes, they found they found tears in my retinal tissue. I think it was 6 tears or something they ended up having. So they said if you risk taking another big blow in the eye, you can potentially go blind in the eye, you know. So um, that's something I'm just not willing to play with and gamble with, you know. I mean, I've got a little couple of floaters in my eye now after the surgery. They said that's a bit of water getting in under the lens. It says that'll fade eventually over time. Um, but yeah, it was a shock to be fair, you know. So yeah, it's been quite tough trying to process it. It's still pretty raw, you know. So I'm quite emotional at the minute.
Yeah, because when we spoke, I sort of said to you, what comes after boxing, and it wasn't there, was it? There was no, there was. It was like, no, this is what I'm doing.
No, boxing's my life, and it has been for best over 20 years now. You know, it has been my life for 20 years. It's all of a sudden it came crash to a halt. I mean, I knew I was coming to the sort of later end of my career, but to get sort of medically signed off was a shock. You know, it was kind of it was bad. It was quite a bad shock. You know, to listen to those words.
Yeah, because you always would have wanted to do it on your own terms, right? And I think that that's the
Yeah,
hard thing as a fighter. Is that I don't think there's ever a right time, right? And you would have known this through history and seeing all the greats in the
yeah,
past. Like no one wants to jack it in anyway.
yeah, yeah. No, I mean, I was only going to maybe one, two more fights anyway, but to get this news now, you know, especially on the run of my last couple of fights, I wanted to go out on a win. You know, I wanted to go on a win. My last couple of fights was, I mean, I performed okay against Echo again, but it wasn't my best. You know, nowhere near my best, and no disrespect to him, because I really like Echo and I've got a lot of time for him. But at my best, man, the guys like Echo don't get near me. You know, but with all due respect, but just me and my own expectations. I know me at my best would have breezed that fight, but I wasn't. But it was on the night he was better than me, and that's it. You know, you can't cry over spilled milk. But I just know at my best I can beat anyone, but I haven't been my best lately. So yeah, a lot of that's due to injury and due to um sort of limitations of not being able to see properly down there and stuff. And you know, I've had this reoccurring problem for about 3 or 4 years now. You know, I think I've had three surgeries in my eyes and now a laser eye surgery treatment. You know, so it's just another gamble that I'm not willing to take anymore in terms of my eyesight. You know, because the doctor did say like you've got some floaters in your vision, which I have in this left eye. um, you take another big dig in that eye, it could potentially be lights out. And I says, nah, it was so fucking horrible to hear. But I had my mind made up then. I says, well, I ain't risking losing my sight. I've got a lot of life left to live after boxing, kids and family, and doing other things that I want to do, and all other activities that I'm interested in and stuff as well. You know, motorbike racing and things like that, and just spending time with my family, you know, quality time with my family. And it's going to be tough to do that. If I went blind in one eye, I would be angry, bitter, and I'd be disappointed, you know. So yeah, I had to take into accounts what life's going to be like after boxing. So I just decided to look after my health.
Johnny Nelson said something to me years ago, said like, to get it out of your system, you need to spend like 5 years out of the gym. Like, are you gonna do that, or are you planning on staying involved, or is it just all too soon to know?
No, I would like to stay involved, obviously. But right now, you know, I mean, I was training right up to 2 weeks ago. I was kept training. I was fit in good shape. And then I got the news, and then I got the surgery, and obviously I've not trained since. So it's been a tough process. But I think my medicine will be to be in amongst the gym and keep training and helping the lads and around girls and boys that are in the gym. And stay in the sport, involved in the sport some way, you know. But yeah, it's been a tough couple of weeks. It's been a tough couple of weeks, to be fair. I haven't been anywhere near the gym since I've heard the news. You know, I've just been I've been pretty upset, you know.
19 and 0, and for many a top 10 pound for pounder at that point. What was the absolute pinnacle for you? Was it the culmination of the World Boxing Super Series? Was it Pro Grey and the fight of the year? Like what was the absolute best night for you in the pros?
Yeah, you would think you would saying becoming undisputed world champion, wouldn't you? But really, that was quite tainted. That was tainted due to all the bullshit COVID restrictions. There was only myself and my team that could go over, which so there was only 10 of us that went over to America. I mean, my mum, my dad, my wife, my little sister, my family, my friends couldn't come with me to witness history being made. So it was that moment was a very bittersweet moment in my career.
Mm.
It was I had dreamed all my life to obviously go over to America and win titles and stuff. And you go and you dream of taking over traveling fans, and then you land a fight to win not only one world title but all the world titles, and nobody can go with you. And you've been told for years and years by hundreds of people that you come every time you come back home and stuff that, oh, when you go to America, we're coming to see you and stuff. And I get the bun for the all the marbles, land that big huge fight, and nobody could go. It was like a kick right up the balls. It was a kick up the balls. It's a kind of it leaves a bitter taste in my mouth. You know, it pisses me off because they robbed me of my my glittering moment. They robbed me of it.
Yeah.
So it's like I was there with 10 people. I mean, my mum and dad weren't there, my wife wasn't there, my little sister weren't there. There was only me and the team and no one else. And so it leaves a bittersweet sort of taste in my mouth. But at the end of the day, I achieved my lifetime goal of becoming an undisputed world champion. And I never thought I would ever do something like that. And I've done it overseas, abroad, with only 10 of us there, basically by ourselves. It was like us against the world, and we done it. So that sense of, I was like, yes, I've done it. But then you come home, and then I couldn't have like a
A gathering.
homecoming. So, yeah, I couldn't have a homecoming parade or anything like that. I had to go straight home and quarantine and all that shit. It was just shit. It was brilliant because I had achieved my lifetime goal, but it was shit. I couldn't get it celebrated afterwards. You
How
know,
about how about Pro Grey? What about that night?
program was yeah, that was a great one. I'd say that was probably the best one. Because I had all my friends and family down there, and my support. Thousands came down to London. All the smart Scots took over London, and we had a right good shindig after it and stuff. So yeah, that was a great one. That was a great one. Yeah.
But it was a damaging fight, right? Fights like that. Are you aware? And are you aware that, like, I know the way things have shaken out, but you're aware that that sort of robs you of fights at the back end of your career when you have fights that like that are that bruising.
Yeah, well, possibly. When you look back, hindsight, my eye was like that, my right eye. Um, and then that's when I started having problems with my eyes. After that, my once the swelling and stuff went down, um, I can remember eating my dinner, sort of sitting here eating my dinner, and I was looking at the plate like that because I couldn't see. So I was
Mm.
looking down like this, eating my dinner. There was like two plates, so I had to like tilt my head down. I said, "There's something wrong here. Like, what's going on?" So and then I got my first treatment done. I think it was just after the Ramirez fight. So I fought from then right up to the Ramirez fight with sort of wonky vision. Um, and then I went and had my first surgery done right after the Ramirez fight. And
That's
then,
that's scary, right? So I mean, scary for me listening to it. Must have been scary for you.
yeah, man, I didn't know what was going on. You're getting laser eye surgery or whatever squint treatment I had to get put under and stuff. And I didn't know that you're getting told you listen. You had to fill out all these disclaimers saying there's a potential you might lose your sight if during this operation and during this procedure, although very highly unlikely. But we still have to tell you the risks. And you're like, fuck, like what? I could potentially go blind here. And yeah, so it was tough. So I fought basically with Prograis right through to, I think it was just about the first Jack fight. I had my first surgery done on it, and then after the first Jack fight, I had the surgery done, and then I had two more surgeries done. Then, so I've had three surgeries done in my eyes for squint correction. Um, and then and now I've had to go and get had this done, and been told that I've maybe got like retinal tears and stuff. So I says I'm not risking playing with my sight, you know. I'm not playing lottery with something as precious as my eyesight. So it's been a tough couple of weeks. I'll say that it's been a tough couple of weeks coming to terms with that's the end of it. All of a sudden, like basically the door's been slammed. Um, I have had it done. I could probably continue, but at what expense, Tris? You know, at what expense? My health is my wealth. You know, I've completed the game in a sense. I've won every world title. I've earned okay money. I've earned good money. So what what else am I fighting for? You know, I'm now going to have to preserve my health. I've got a whole lot of life left to live after boxing. So, um, although I didn't think that when I heard this news 2 weeks ago, my whole world is caved in. You know, so I'm still adjusting to it, and I'm still quite upset about it. Yeah.
Have you thought about like, or are you having counseling? Have you thought about having counseling to sort of deal with it? Because it's not, it's obviously something that is going to be ongoing for a bit. Sad to say, right?
Yeah, I mean it's been tough. So no, I've not spoken to anyone. You know, if I sort of just kept it to myself. My
Mm.
wife knows how I feel. Obviously, she's seen it firsthand. A couple of my friends, my pals, have been around and stuff. Some of my family as well, but I've not really told anyone really. You know, it's been quite tough couple of weeks. And my coach Terry knows, so he knows how I feel and stuff as well. So I'm going up to the gym and stuff next week to get back to sort of work to take my mind off it, kind of thing.
There was a long list of people you thanked in your parting statement.
Yeah.
Um, Shane McGuigan, Ben Davison among them. How much did those guys help you as a fighter? Because obviously, when you come in as a decorated amateur Commonwealth champ and Olympian and stuff, how much did they help you adapt to the pros and achieve the success that you achieved?
Yeah, major roles, you know. Obviously, I turned pro with Shane and developed with him over the years. We had a good working relationship. It was great. You know, I was learning a hell of a lot. I was developing really fast and improving a lot. I was always getting good sparring and things like that. But then I started seeing things differently with different aspects of the game come into it. Um, I'm not going to get into it, you know, but I started seeing different things in different ways and a different look, you know. So I just knew that from a certain point, I thought once I win these titles, I'm going to have to move because it's just not right. There's something here that's not right, and I'm not willing to sit here and
Sure.
elaborate on what it was, but um, what I will say is a huge thank you to Shane and Barry at the same time because they developed me and they got me the fights at the right time. Shane was a great coach. You know, I learned a lot of them as well. So I'd like to take this opportunity just to thank them and all honesty. But in the end, it just didn't fit. There was more negatives than there was positives.
Yeah, and in terms of Ben, how much did Ben help you through that next phase?
Yeah, brilliant. You know, I learned a lot of Ben off Ben as well. You know, a completely different style of boxing as well. So um, I learned a lot more like patience and boxing, being patiently using my jab and sort of boxing a little bit more patiently. You know, so I learned a lot of that off of Ben as well and developing my jab a lot better. You know, I felt I developed a great jab from Ben and a sort of good straight left hand as well. You know, as I learned a lot from Ben as well. So again, he took me to become undisputed champion as well. So again, a big thank you, just a thank you to everyone that's been involved in the whole process. It's been part of the roller coaster and journey of the my whole career. So thank you to everyone that's been involved in my career. Is basically is what I want to say. Yes, thank you to everyone. We may not have we may have parted ways at times or disagreed at times, but all in all, thank you to everyone.
I mean, we talked about Josh Taylor starting out, and you seeing Alex Arthur at the Meadowbank Leisure Centre, I think, and sort
Yeah,
of him encouraging you. I mean,
yeah,
the little Josh Taylor then would have bitten your arm off if you'd say, "Look, you could be undisputed champ, win the World Boxing Super Series, be
yeah.
Ring Magazine champ, and be in the
Yeah.
pound for pound."
Yeah, I just thought you were crazy. Was it what was the number five ring pound for pound and at one point? Or I was like, yeah, wow. You're like me, that achieving all that? I don't think so. I think you were mental. I think you'd be mental. But I done it. I done it. It's with a lot of hard work, perseverance, and self belief. So it's just I would never be thinking I'd be sitting here and talking to you, achieving what I've achieved. I always believed I would become world champion, but what I went on to achieve, I never thought I would be able to do that. So, yeah, and that's thank you to everyone that I mentioned there that's been involved in my career and my development.
You know, when you came through those ranks and you were fighting the O'Haras and all those guys, early on, within 10 fights and stuff, were you optimistic that you would actually get to that level, world level and beyond? Were you that confident?
I knew, I mean, I knew like after like on the lead up to the Commonwealth Games as an amateur, um, I was like, I want to become a world champion. I'm going to be a world champion. I'm definitely going to be a world champion one day. Because I knew the level of opponents I was in the amateur game. I went to the Europeans and lost in a split decision to the eventual winner of the tournament. Same at the Worlds as well. So I was always losing to the guys that were winning world medals and stuff like that, and the Olympics and stuff as well. Narrowly lost out to um, uh, Domenico Valentino. My first one was against Conceição Robson Conceição from Brazil. I beat him. He was world number one, and then narrowly lost out to the world champion in Valentino. So it was. I knew I was world class. I knew I was world class, and I could mix it with the best. But and I knew I would become world champion. But I didn't think I would do it in quite quick succession as I did. It was one hell of a roller coaster.
Is there part of you out there that's excited about opportunities and possibilities now? You don't have this the weight and the burden of boxing on your shoulders?
Um, Not really. I mean, right now I'm just still like a little bit gutted that it's been cut short
Mm.
in terms of not being able to bow out on my own terms. I mean, I could have continued, but at a big risk of
Yep.
losing sight in my one eye. So, and that wasn't a risk that I was willing to take. Um, for the reasons that I've just explained. I had a whole lot of life left to live. So, um, yeah, it's a bit of a bittersweet. It's a bit of a hard pill to swallow, but at the same time, I'm doing it for my health. So, um, yeah, it's tough. It's quite tough. I'm still kind of coming to terms with it a little bit.
But in the statement, you also pointed out the positives of actually wrapping it up at home in front of your own fans and
Yeah,
having that homecoming finally.
yeah. Sorry. Yeah. I got the chance to stay and fight at my home fans. Obviously, I never got the result, and the way I was feeling there in the ring was like, oh fuck this, I'm finished. Fuck this, I'm getting out. I'm just gonna tell them I'm fucking not fighting again. I'm getting out because I was like so pissed off with my performance and um because I know at my best and no disrespect to Echo Esserman or anything because I really like him, but I know that when I'm performing at my best, it doesn't get near me. But I had an off night again at the office and well, I started off good and then I just felt he lured me into his trap, his way of fighting. So you've got to give credit where credit's due. He had a good game plan. He sucked me into his way of fighting and got the win. So yeah, I was just very pissed off with the way I performed, and I was probably going to say that's me had enough there now. You know, but then that's when I thought, right, no, wait a minute, don't say that. Just get out before you do say something stupid, and go to the changing rooms. Um, but now I wish I had did go in there and say thank you and very much, and I'll see you later. See what's happening next. But I didn't know obviously all this was going to happen.
No, of course. And with regards to the Esserman fight beforehand, obviously Teofimo Lopez was putting out there that, maybe, you're the hardest guy I fought, like maybe we'll run it back and stuff. But by the way, just in terms of opponents, I spoke to Jack Catterall before he fought Harlem Eubank, and Jack was like, for the first 6 rounds against Esserman, you looked, you were slipping, sliding, and doing what Josh Taylor does, right? Um,
Yeah.
was that what happened? Did your legs get tired, or was it
No,
something that he did? Do you just deviate
no,
from the plan?
I never felt tired at all, Tris. I felt great. I felt like I was on fire. I was firing on all cylinders. I felt sharp. I felt strong, but also felt fast and nimble,
Mm.
and I felt good. And and being totally honest, and without trying to sound disrespectful or anything, it was really quite easy. It was really like it was too easy almost. And I kind of stopped concentrating a little bit. And then slowly by surely, I got sucked into his fight, and then he dragged me into his way of fighting. I kind of stopped concentrating a little bit, and Joe in the corner was going after me, but I then switched off a lot on a little bit again, but then I just couldn't get going again. I had already sort of got dragged into his fight, and it was hard to get going again. But then you've got to give credit to Echo because he stuck with his game plan and dragged me into his fight and got out the win. But yeah, I was frustrated at myself. I was frustrated at myself because halfway through I was thinking, this is quite comfortable. This is really comfortable. This fight, and I switched off. I switched off.
Are
And
you
then
and
I paid the. No, so,
are you and Catterall gonna go for beers later on in life? Like, at these Xboxers dues and stuff. You guys gonna sit
can't see,
down and have a couple of beers?
can't see. I would say very highly unlikely. Um, I can't see it. I mean, I've never had that kind of animosity towards someone after a fight, due to because of him and his team after the fight and his friends and family saying posts what they were saying after the fight. It got it led to a lot of shit being fired my way in my direction. So, um, probably no. Would say there's a quick answer.
Yeah. And I suppose, but when you look back, and obviously I know where you've got your belts, and I've seen them around the house, like on socials and stuff. Like, it's more than job done, isn't it? I know that you've got
Yeah,
that pain in your heart at the moment, but like there's also got to be an element of like so satisfied, right?
yeah, absolutely. I mean, I was really actually considering retiring after the Ramirez fight because it was like that's my mission accomplished.
Mm.
I've won it all. I've won everything. Um, and my dad was saying to me like, just retire now, son. You retire at the top. I was like, oh, absolutely. But if I can be at the top, but I haven't earned top money. I need to money to live the rest of my life, man. So, I continued, but I believed I was going to go on and become a world champion again. Become a two-weight world champion. You know, um, but then injuries started happening left, right, and centre, and I started getting plagued with injuries. Since after that fight. So yeah, it was a bit of a shitty end to my career. It was a bit of a nosedive, kind of riddled with injuries. The last 3 or 4 years.
Did that have they come from not living the life, do you think, in between fights? Do you
No, I
think
don't
that
think
might
so.
play?
I always lived the life. I always lived the life. It just I don't know what it was, but it was like it was just I don't know if it was just wear and tear on my body. I don't know.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. I would be in training and then bang! Oh, my fucking what was it, plantar fascia tendon snapped. Like fuck! Like just out the blue. Like we're doing circuit training and stuff like that. And then that took months to get healed. And then my eyes and 3 surgeries in my eyes. And I'm like, your fucking body's starting to fall to bits. It's like, fuck. It's like, fuck's sake. But
Yeah.
although, they weren't sort of, well, they were quite horrific injuries, but I was still able to continue and do what I did. But yeah, I've had a few injuries over the last few years. So you
Yeah.
could probably call it wear and tear.
Yeah, and obviously then that fed into inactivity, and none of that stuff helps in any way, shape, or form, does it?
Yeah, well, the big con came over, didn't it? And then it stopped everything in its tracks. Not just myself, but everybody. You know, the whole world came to a crashing halt, and
Yeah.
it just killed the momentum. Like, you know, so
Yeah.
that is what it is. It is what it is.
But mate, I hope you're able to, you know, steer away from the negatives in terms of, you know, having it taken away at this stage and look at the positives because, you know, people don't achieve what you've achieved. You know that. What was it? One in 70 million you put in the statement. And
Yeah, I
mate,
mean, absolutely. Yeah, I'm very proud of myself. Totally proud of myself. You know, and again, it's like it's just one of these things that happened the way it happened. You know, I was on a great roll. Then COVID came in and it just completely killed my momentum. I started fighting once a year and it just wasn't enough, you know, just once a year and then, you know, like training all the time and not fighting. It's just not good. It's just not enough for it if you want to be maintain being at the top level. Fighting once
yeah.
a year is not enough.
Well, I'm glad you're proud of your achievements. I'm glad you won the lot, and appreciate you taking the time to speak to me. I appreciate spending the time with you up in Glasgow a couple of months ago as well, which was really enjoyable. I really enjoyed it. It was good to see you a couple of days before fight, and well on weight at welterweight as well, which was
Yeah, I mean,
something new.
it was a piece of cake. The weight, you know, I felt good. I felt comfortable. I felt strong. You know, obviously the fighter in me wants to continue and keep going on. I actually even said to my wife last night, I went, once this heals up, I'll get back down and you know and get to the doctors and see what they think again, and I'll have one, maybe one more. And she just looked at me and went, "Come on, Josh, you've just had a big scare, and you're quite lucky to get away." And when you put it that way, I am quite lucky to get away with my sight still intact with the injury that I had. You know, well, one they said I had one tear in my retinal tissue, but when I sat on the table, I ended up having six tears in my retinal tissue. So when I got told that, I was just like, okay, thank you very much, doctor. And I had to make the decision there and then. You know, I phoned Joe and told Joe, um, and yeah, and then told my coach Terry and my mum and dad and stuff. Told them the news, and they all said the same thing. They all came to the same conclusion.
You and Daniel haven't got kids, right?
Not yet. No,
Well,
not for.
that's the next step. Then you got no, there's no,
Yeah,
no, you can't put it off any longer now.
yeah, that's it. Put some baby Taylors on the horizon. I think. Yeah, that's the plans.
Get them playing with the belts. Nice one. Josh, thanks so much for doing this. Thanks for taking the time. I appreciate that it's been rough. I can only imagine because I know what it's like when people get way out the other end of their career and they still don't want to give up, let alone someone who still feels fresh and wants to do it. So
Yeah.
I feel for that. But also at the same time, good for you, mate, going out having won the lot. So not many can say that.
Not many can say that. So yeah, I'm very proud of myself. You know, I'm very proud of myself, but at the same time, I'm still quite upset and still like torn apart that back this door's closing now. It's been slammed shut. It's not. I've not just closed it. It's been slammed. You know. So yeah, I'm kind of happy, but I'm still sad as well. So, but I'll get there. I'll get there.
All right, Josh. Thanks, man. I appreciate you taking the time. Thank you so much.
No, thanks. Appreciate it, mate.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Thanks. Take care. Bye bye. Bye.
Cheers, mate. Bye bye. Bye.